Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh review. Tonight I'm taking a look at the Star Wars Black Series General Leia Organa and Maz Kanata. Now, I already have a pretty good feeling how I will feel about these, but they're essentials, you know? We need them on the shelf. They played integral parts in The Force Awakens, and apparently in The Last Jedi too, so I had to have them. Now, looking at the packages, it's your standard Star Wars Black Series boxes. It's the black on the outside, it's the nice artwork down here, the red background, the window that shows pretty much everything. I'm hoping Maz's gun is in there somewhere. On the side, as you can see, Leia is 52, Maz is 49. On the back, I was expecting kind of The Force Awakens bios, but these are actually The Last Jedi bios. Well, Leia's is kind of ambiguous. It could work both ways, but Maz's is definitely current. So if you're avoiding spoilers, stay away from these. But down here's the warnings. The unreadables probably says something like the numbers up here aren't their actual ages, like the way I said it just a minute ago. On the other side, you get that fancy font coming up the side. Top, you got nothing. On the bottom, you have the legalese and the barcodes for both. But I'm going to get these open and see, I hate to say how exciting they are, but see how they will display on the shelf. And there we go, all out of the package, and I knew what I was expecting here. I wasn't expecting anything more. It's just that it's kind of weird getting action figures that aren't known for a lot of action. But before I get too much further, I just want to remind everybody that I got these figures, and well, all of Wave 2 really, from Dorkside Toys. If you're looking for Star Wars, you're looking for Marvel Legends, you're looking for some imports, hit up Dorkside Toys. Eddie usually has what I'm looking for. Looking at Leia first, I feel like they pretty much nailed her body sculpt here. It's the simple fact that Leia has gotten older, and bodies don't hold up over time. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, I'm glad they kind of nailed it with this figure. I didn't want any stylized, I just wanted Leia as she was, or is, in the new movie. Nice wrinkling to the clothing. It's kind of a jumpsuit under a vest type thing. The vest does kind of get in the way of articulation, but I'll look at that here in a second. Getting down to the boots, slightly high heel here, so it is a little bit more trouble standing than usual, but not terribly bad. And then it looks like for the most part everything is cast in the colors it needs to be, except for maybe the brown of the top of the boots. And then get up to the head, very Carrie Fisher-ish. Carrie Fisher-ish? Her lips may be a little bit more pursed than I would have liked, but it does kind of nail the likeness here. The cheeks are a little bit sullen. Yes, we're not to the photo reel yet, so it's not quite that realistic, but the paints that are on here, not terrible for the usual G.I. Joe looking paint apps on the faces. And then the hair sculpt, very, very nice, even though it's not detailed with paint at all. Except for maybe just a little bit on the front. I can't tell if that's a little bit of flesh tone getting out or if that's gray added to the front. And then taking a look at Maz, I love this sculpt. I don't know why. It's not like I'm super attached to the character or anything, but it's an interesting sculpt. And the colors help bring that to the forefront too, just interesting to look at all around. For being such a small character, they did a good job of integrating the articulation where it needed to be, even though there's some sneaky spots here, I don't know. It looks like she has a knitted sweater on. The texture on the pants is nice. Cloth, it's not just a flat with some wrinkles here and there. Same goes for the boots and then her jewelry around her wrists and even her fingers. The paint apps are done really well. This could have been easily screwed up, but all the different colors are kept in line. It helps that it's also cloth, so you're not looking for super straight lines. You're looking for just colors where they need to be, and that's what this achieves. Get up to the head, the likeness is there. Again, it complements the body perfectly, but you get to the paints and it seems like her skin is a little bit shiny, a little bit goldish. I don't feel like it should be this just blatantly shiny. But the shininess does help bring out the details, so it's kind of a trade-off, I guess. Like I said, Leia's vest thing does get in the way of torso articulation. You feel like you're stumbling over it to get the torso to move, because when I first got it out of the package, I thought, that torso doesn't move worth a damn, but the more I get into it, the more it does move. Not so much forward and back, but it does have more tilt than I thought. And then there's the feet. It's the same problem we see in Marvel Legends when they give them high heels. This isn't super high heels, but it's enough to make the base smaller than what it should be to stand up an action figure. So you do have to fight it a little bit to get her to stand, of course. And then with Maz, as fantastic a figure as it is, I mean, there's a lot packed into here. There are some weird spots. They have these movable goggles that go up, but in the movie, it's pointed out. I mean, it's very blatantly pointed out that her eyes go way smaller when the goggles come up. But you raise them up and they lose that effect, I guess you could say. She doesn't look quite as much like Maz as she does here. I appreciate the effort put in, but it just doesn't work, at least not in mine. And that's probably being super nitpicky. And then my other problem are in the legs. I don't know if this was originally meant to be a swivel, but I don't think it is. I cannot get those to move right there. Because if you take the leg off, which it does want to come off fairly easy if you're trying to get that loose, you're turning, you're trying to get it, and this is going to pop off. There isn't really enough room for a pin unless it goes down into the leg. And it looks like it separates, but oh, never mind. It's just tight as hell. There it goes. They actually fit a peg in there. Holy shit. But with the left one, I absolutely cannot get that thing to move. But if it comes down to it, if you don't want to just wrench on that and try to get that to turn, down here does turn. So it's kind of spinning meat once you do free it up. You get a little bit of turn on the ball and then a lot of turn at the knee. One of my gripes alleviated. The other problem though is it seems like her right leg is longer than her left. You try to stand her up and she automatically leans this way. That's easily hidden by just kicking the leg out just a little bit and then she stands straight up. But I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. I don't know if everybody else's is like that, but mine's like that. Going over articulation, there's a ball going up into the head with a hinge in the neck. You can bury the chin. Not a lot of up though. The hair gets in the way in the back. No tilt, and then of course there's swivel. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder, comes up, goes around. Hinge and swivel at the elbow, comes up a little past 90, and then swivel. Hinge and swivel at the wrist. You'll notice she has a trigger finger, so the wrist does go up and down. Very nice. Swivels. I talked about the torso. Not a lot of forward, a little bit of back, a little bit of side, and then it swivels. There's a ball going out into the hip, goes all the way forward, goes back a little bit, out, not terrible at all. Swivel at the thigh. Double knee comes, not all the way up, but most of the way. Hinge at the ankle, goes back, goes forward, and then there's forward facing pin for rocker. For Maz, I'm not sure there's a hinge in the neck. I think it's just a ball on top, but you don't get a lot of back movement with it because of the back of the head and this beanie she's wearing. But you can get all the way forward, swivel, no tilt whatsoever. Hinge and swivel at the shoulder, comes up, swivels around. Swivel at the elbow, comes up past 90, swivels. Hinge and swivel at the wrist, but even though she does hold a gun, it's side to side. It feels like there's a ball at the waist, and it should go, well, there's a little bit of forward and back, maybe a little bit of side to side, but it's mostly just a swivel. Ball going out into the hip, goes all the way forward, goes back about right there, all the way out. There is a swivel at the thigh. Hinge and swivel at the knee, doesn't quite make it 90, and then swivels. Hinge at the ankle, goes back, goes forward, and then forward-facing pin for rocker. For accessories, Leia comes with kind of a version of her original pistol from A New Hope. I'm not quite sure it's the same pistol, but it has that long look to it. A little bit of paint on the sight and then at the end of the barrel, but that's about it. It's cast in black for the most part. And then for Maz, she comes with the Resistance blaster. We've seen this before. It's essentially the Rebel blaster from the original movies. She comes with the hilt of Anakin's, of Luke's, of now Rey's lightsaber. I guess they call this the Excalibur, I think. But we've seen this several times. Again, nice sculpt. It's got a red button on it, the black on the handle. And then most interesting is the trunk. We saw this in The Force Awakens. This is where Rey was drawn to. She finds the lightsaber inside. She has the, you've seen the movie. But this is a great sculpt for what it is. Nice detailing to the wood and then the metal hinges and latches and whatever all the way around it. And that's under a decent paint job that makes it look fairly weathered. And then inside there's dilly whoppers, there's stuff, there's, I don't know what it all is, but the lightsaber hilt also goes in here. Now it does open and close. It's on a plastic hinge. I don't know how much I want to open and close this. I don't, and here I go. It feels like eventually that's going to snap, or if you pull too hard, it's going to tear. But it does close, and you can latch it. So that's a cool little thing to get with a smaller character. For comparison, here's Leia with The Force Awakens Han. This is a good size. In fact, this may be one of the better sized Leias in the line. Fwoosh was too big, Slave Leia seemed too small, but this one, it hits Harrison Ford about right on the chest. And here's Maz with that same figure, and she seems like an appropriate size. So at the end of the day, I'm happy to have these characters for the shelf, and I do have my gripes about some of the articulation here, but it's okay because they're not really action-oriented. I don't feel like I need to put, and this goes right along the lines with the Snoke that I reviewed just a while back. There's only certain poses you'll want to put these in. Apparently Maz gets some more action in the new movie, but Does Leia go running around on the battlefield or anything? I don't know. We'll see. But until then, both of these would just be standing on the shelf. But they're essential. They were important characters in the movies. Just like the Admiral Akbar, I'm happy to have him on the shelf, even though it's the wrong version so far. It's hard to take these action-type pictures at the end of the review. They can't all be Jedi. They can't all be gunslingers. They can't all be in battle. And I'm okay with that. I understand that. So they're definitely going on the shelf. I feel like this is the only Leia, and really Maz, that I'll ever need. Totally worth getting, I feel. If you like the review, comment, like, subscribe. I'll catch you on the Fwoosh. 3, 2, 1.